All right. Good afternoon. I am Matt Young. How's it going, Drew?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we are here for organizational behavior, and I'm going to be conducting an interview today on managerial styles with Drew Rothmuller. So, Drew, I'd like to just go ahead and open it up by kicking it over to you and asking you if you'd like to go ahead and take a moment to introduce yourself and tell us kind of about your role and the organization that you're in.
Yeah, perfect, man. Appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. As you mentioned, name's Drew Rothmuller. I am a lieutenant colonel in the Ohio Army National Guard. So I've been in the National Guard for 22 years now. Started off as a enlisted medic back in the day. Went through the University of Cincinnati's ROTC program, and then commissioned to be an officer. Been an officer for about 16 years now. Had various roles. Been in the air defense artillery community for the majority of my career. Had deployments to Iraq for 9 months back in 2010, and then have done various rotations through the National Capital Region in DC, and then down here in Tyndall, where I am currently, protecting the nation's capital through our air defense artillery systems. So currently, as I mentioned, I'm down here at Tyndall Air Force Base. I'm in charge of a group down here that counteracts with their interacts with the group down here as well as the group up in DC to make sure that we are communicating well. So and then I interact with 2 and 3 star generals, just to make sure our message and our voice is being heard from the NCR, and making sure that everything is communicated well and that we are working in concert to protect the United States. So.
Okay, great. So during that time, you've probably served in leadership roles. You may still be in leadership role now. What principles or values guide your decisions when you're in those leadership roles and you're managing others that are soldiers and officers who are working for you?
Absolutely. Two of the biggest ones that I would say that have really guided me throughout the years are trust and respect. They kind of go hand in hand. Having the ability to trust the individuals that you are working with, both that were working for you and that you are working for, knowing that they have the best intentions in mind, that their decisions are made to better the organization. It is key to making sure that you're all working towards the same goals, and able to work as a team and better the organization. And then getting to the respect part, especially being a part of the National Guard. National Guard's an interesting organization where we do our Army job some of the time, and we have a civilian career as well. So balancing those two, as well as balancing a family, whether you're at home with family or you're deployed and having to work, remotely to increase those relationships and to take care of all facets of your life. Having the respect, to basically allow individuals to grow within their civilian career, within their Army career, having goals, a family goal, and working with them and respecting them to have those goals and to help them achieve those goals is one of the biggest things that I've been focused on in the past, especially past 5-10 years, is really respecting their goals and trying to help them achieve them.
Okay. So how would you describe your leadership style, and maybe how has it changed or evolved over the years?
So my leadership style, my biggest thing, and it probably comes from, growing up playing sports, playing basketball, running track cross country. I take more of a coaching style or a mentor style of leadership. Really understanding, again, kind of getting back to the goals, understanding individuals' goals, where they want to go in their career. As I mentioned, civilian careers it included, where they are, family wise, and especially on the military side, what they want to do, where they want to go, because it can change quite often. There are times people really want to
Yeah,
accept when their military career, and it's like get me into every school you can so I can do my
yeah,
best, and I want the
for
greatest
sure.
leadership roles, and I want to grow. And then there's other times where they say, hey, I've got some family issues I need to take care of. School really isn't the best thing for me. So really just understanding individuals and where they are at the moment and helping them to create a plan and have steps to be able to complete that plan at the moment, and then adjusting along the way. That's where it could be this month, and 3 months from now they can say, hey, that was the goal, but guess what? Not anymore. I've got to change paths and go down another path, and just being able to work with them, to again develop that goal, change their goal if they need to, and work through that. Earlier on in my career, I would say I was more of a servant leader, especially being a lieutenant or a younger officer or a younger leader. Knowing that I was working with some of these senior enlisted people who had been in for 15, 20 years, where I had 5, 6 years of experience, knowing that I was still leading them. However, they had a ton more experience than I have.
Sure.
So me understanding that and really relying on them for a lot of the information and the experience that they could bring to the table, and then helping to lead them in that process. It just kind of flips on its head. And then as soon as you kind of gain more experience and whatever, it's starting that other side of coaching and helping
Right.
those individuals grow.
Okay, makes sense. So some of those teams that you've led in various aspects, different missions or whatever the role might be, um, how do you go about motivating teams, especially during what I'm sure have been challenging and difficult times where morale is probably low or not very high?
Yeah, no, that's a big one. Definitely motivating can be difficult at times. Different organizations have different heights of morale at different times as well. I really think it gets back kind of, I think I've touched on it a little bit, really understanding people and understanding their motivations, and understanding again where they are in the process. People can be very just down in the dumps and really not want to participate in things for various reasons, whether
Mm-hmm.
again they have just a very different family life, whether they have different experiences with other leaders and trying to erase some of those bad tastes out of their mouth and saying that you are a different leader that can help them do things.
Right.
So really just understand them. And then two, I think not being afraid to roll up your sleeves and get in there with them. A lot of times it's good to be the person that's leading and providing the vision, and you can get away from understanding what it is you're asking them to do. So being able to, like I said, roll up your sleeves, being able to participate in, kind of the tough part of their work and understanding what they do so that you can help to better lead them so that they can see you're, a part of the team as well and not just
Yeah.
providing lip service. So,
Okay. It all makes sense. So for these teams, we talked about motivating them. Obviously, conflicts probably arise from time to time. So how do you handle those conflicts within your teams to ensure that they're resolved in a constructive manner that doesn't cause a detriment to the organization?
yeah, no, that's huge. And it happens, all the time.
Yeah.
I would say the most important thing is addressing things in a timely manner. Um, Bad news does not get better with time, as we've heard over and over again,
Yeah.
or at least I have. So addressing it as quick and early as possible, digging down to the source, understanding what's going on, is really the key that I have found, in being transparent about what is going on and not trying to hide it, not trying to separate things out. Just, if you've got two individuals that are having an issue, really understanding, getting, hey, what's your perspective, and then bringing them together to solve the conflict and being a part of that process. It has been key to me. And like I said, not letting it fester, because if you let it sit out there, it just continues to build and continues to be a problem, and it continues to grow. So just being
Sure.
timely and directly at the source have always been key for me.
Okay. So you touched on a little bit earlier about where you started from when you enlisted in the Army National Guard. Then you commissioned, you kind of adapted some of your leadership styles based on your experiences and as you gained more experience. So I'm sure there were people that kind of mentored you, coached you, guided you along the way. So along those same lines, how do you identify and develop leadership potential with someone who's on your team, someone that you see could use maybe couldn't use development, but they exhibit skills that are synonymous with becoming a leader within your team and exhibit that leadership potential? What steps do you take to kind of coach and develop them?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is really just communicating with them. On a daily basis, being out there, there's varying levels of where you are. So, being a senior leader, not only talking to my captains or my majors that are right under me, but also talking to the specialists and the E6s, E7s, throughout, depending on if I'm, in the National Guard, at drill or, on active duty, really having those conversations, again, understanding where people are, watching interactions, as you go through exercises, as you go through just daily, operations, you can see how individuals interact with others, and really seeing what their strengths are, and sometimes seeing what their weaknesses are, and being able to coach and mentor them, one on the spot. We definitely have ways and things that are already set up for us in the Army. So we do quarterly counseling. So as you have a person that's underneath you, you will do a quarterly counseling with them. You will do your initial counseling with them, setting expectations. Quarterly counseling. This is how you're doing. This is what I think you need to improve upon. This is what you're doing great at. And then there are evaluations at the end. So just like any organization, so you have those formal ways of developing those people as leaders, which are, I think, just as important as your informal, just having those conversations, whether it's at
Sure.
lunch, you're just chatting with them about life and what they're doing and what they're seeing as they're going through operations or exercises, versus like I said, those formal counselings, and making sure that you are helping them in pinpointing what they should be focusing on and what they want to focus on too. Again, getting back to those goals, making sure that one, they want to develop and they want to lead, and they want to continue to develop inside the organization or outside the organization, and you helping them the way.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, we're like right at our time limit here, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up now. I really appreciate you jumping on with me and explaining some of your leadership skills and how you tend to lead. So appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you for your time.
So,
Appreciate it.
all right. Have a good one.